pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bozak,
Here.
Commissioner Insland,
Here.
Commissioner McCart,
Here.
Commissioner Dublin,
Here.
Commissioner Loving is absent.
Minutes from August 8th, 2023. I'd like to make a motion to accept. Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Dublin,
Yes.
Commissioner Insland,
Yes.
Commissioner McCart,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. All right. Board reports, commissioners, anything? No. Right.
No, right now.
Paul, do you have anything for us over there? Would you like to introduce us to your friend?
This is Jill. She'll be taking over the secretary spot.
All right.
Where are you going?
Nowhere. I'm full-time now at the police department. I'm around.
All right.
He's sitting.
All right, Clay, do you have anything?
No,
Do you have any engineers on or anything?
No.
Good evening, commissioners. Just an update. We're on the grants that we submitted. We're still waiting a response. Again, nothing was expected this month for the Safe Streets for All grant or for the Next Level Trails grant. So those are still under review. The state of Indiana announced the Ready grant round 2. So if there are projects that the Redevelopment Commission or the town are considering, those will be things to begin to talk amongst yourselves and bring forth. Anticipating in the coming weeks, there will be a call for projects from the Northwest Indiana Forum Foundation. So that would be the time that we would engage in specifically identifying projects and putting forth an application should there be a project to pursue. In terms of the Marquette Greenway, phase 1A is under a notice to proceed. We're in the process of scheduling the first pre-construction meeting with area and the town. That looks like it'll be in early October to kick off that project. Phase 2 of the RTP section, we're wrapping up the punch list as well as the final invoicing and grant reimbursement from the state. And on phase 3, which is the section of the trail that connects with Portage, we met today with the National Park, the city of Portage, and the town of Burns Harbor to talk about just roles and responsibilities along maintaining the trail, and then some of the issues that have come up regarding, controlling traffic onto the trails. What are the types of devices like a bollard or a cable gate and so forth to restrict some of the uses both on Burns Harbor and Portage side. The National Park was able to get out and mow the section of the trail. So there was some complaints of the overgrowth of plants onto the trail. That's been taken care of by the National Park. And we're also discussing ways in which we can get more public information out about where they're at on the trail, what their responsibility is as using the trail, and then just some general information about, if they're curious about whether or not they can pick something along the trail, guidelines for that.
We should put a "Don't Feed the Bears" sign just to freak people out.
We hadn't talked about that.
I was just popping my head, sorry.
And then we also had a little deeper discussion that coordination among the public safety officials in the town and Burns Harbor National Park, having their own kind of leadership conversation around you know, how to respond to calls. And one concern that we have are just like, where are we at on the trail? So mile markers, whether it's the river or the trail itself. So that will be a conversation. It's already kind of been started, but just will be asked of the public safety officials to kind of lead that discussion and make recommendations back to organizations like Streets and Street Department and Parks Department and Redevelopment Commissions that are overseeing these things. That would conclude the report.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We have our school board person.
Was he recently appointed? Do we have something,
Yeah, Kirk Redmond.
but do we have documentation?
I would have to ask Jane. I'm not really sure.
I mean, I don't doubt that we do, but I didn't realize that there was someone appointed until I saw the nameplates. I don't know if we get that communication.
I will send an email to Jane tomorrow.
What is his name again?
Kirk Redmond.
Do we have any correspondence?
No.
No. Nobody likes us, nobody sends us letters.
No letters.
All right, let's do old business. We'll go out of order and start with the kayak launch update.
Sure.
All right.
So I'm Harbor Redevelopment. I work both with the Northwest Indiana Paddle Association volunteer organization and with the National Park Service as a volunteer. And I came and spoke to you, Tina Raise it, somewhere in there, to tell you about the project, which is greatly increasing the length of the river that's accessible to people, in particular, including in Burns Harbor. And then we're going to put 2 landings here. That's what we talked about. So I want to give you an update on progress and lack thereof, frankly, what that is. But I have to interject, listening to Ms. Rogers' report about the market greenway. I've been bringing people in here to work, people who don't live here. Every time they go down there, they are taken aback at how beautiful it is. And they're so excited about the resource. I'm so excited about it. It's exciting to bring people in here and to increase the access to it. So I'm really pumped up. So the headlines are, I'll give you an update. We intend to complete the clearing part of the project in October. The agreement to finalize the easement at 149, where we're going to install the launch, is dragging slow because it's between government agencies, I guess. So I don't have a date for you about the installation of that. There was 2 installations at the corner of Westport and Riverside Drive. We're going to have a landing with parking lot, and then we're going to put a portage, a way to get your boat around the pressure again. Those are the things they're reporting on, and that's a little delayed right now. But then the third thing I want to tell you is that the particular agreement about what is the landing at Westport and Riverside has been decided, and that's good. And I think you'll be very happy about that. I've given you a map on that. So let's get into the details. I'll do it in reverse order. So in summary, there has been an informal place where people have fishermen and communities have used this for decades here at Burns Harbor. And the Burns Harbor streets people keep it clean, and the police go there, and it's been working very well. And what the National Park and the Paddle Association proposed was to use what is an informally used access point to formally use it. We took that to Indiana Department of Transportation. And while they don't normally let people use their land, they said in this case, because of the history, because of the compelling argument, they agreed with. And that's going forward. We had an area of concern that we talked about at the time, that the exact design was not complete. here's the bottom line, the design includes all the parking, the walkway, and the launch, all on the NDOT land. Here's the important part, no one has to walk on Westport or Riverside, that was a concern. They weren't sure that they would agree to our design, what you see there in front of you is the design. So there's a parking place, and there's a turn in for it, and there's a ramp, and there's a floating launch, which will go up and down as the river goes up and down. No one ever has to set foot on their vehicle on Westport or Riverside. That was a big concern for us. And I know it was a concern with the Prince Harbor folks too, so that's a done deal. They would agree to that. So what you see there is, there's an existing turn in place there where people have been doing it. NDOT has agreed to allow us to open up a second place so that you can pull in and then pull out. That simplifies people's access to it. They're gonna allow us to change the barriers there. We'll put barriers around the fire hydrant that's down there. We'll put a fence along the bridge. NDOT doesn't want vehicles going underneath the bridge for completely understandable reasons. They've agreed to that design, and at the end of it, there was a ramp that can go up and down as the dock goes up and down. The National Park Service has already purchased the dock. We're not gonna install it until all the agreements are in place. So that's the good news. Nobody on Westport, nobody on Riverside, all of the operation takes place there. So there's that. So my second headline was, well, we're going ahead, but it's not so fast. For a lot of complicated reasons, we've decided that the agreement between NDOT and someone should be between NDOT and Shirley Hines Land Trust. Not the National Park Service, because that would take even longer, just because it's a federal agency, frankly. Not with the Paddle Association, because we're in no sense a fiduciary, we do crazy things in the woods and we put people on water, we don't manage land, we barely ever make an account. Shirley Hines Land Trust manages land all over Lake and Porter and Jasper and everybody else. And they're very active in the area, so they have agreed to do this, but we sort of had to hit the start button again. And so now we're restarting all the agreements to do that. And I think that that's a good solution, but we don't have that agreement in place. And so no shovels hit the dirt until that happens. You want to know a date, so do I. I don't have one. I hope it's this year. I desperately hope it's this year. I'll go on to the clearing, but why don't I stop to see if you've got any questions about the design of it or the concept of the agreement with NDOT and all the parties in it.
I don't have any questions. I think it all sounds great. It's great.
Okay, well, let me go to happier news. We haven't done in October.
Yeah.
So I've been working in Burns Harbor in a lot in August. Salt Creek is done. Not only can you paddle Salt Creek, but on Sunday, part of Indiana Dunes Outdoor Adventure Festival was a paddle where we put people in the Isaac Wall on 249, and we took 60 people all the way up Salt Creek to where you can see 94, and everybody is just blown away at how beautiful it is. Friday, there's an interagency group, a bunch of nonprofits that are involved in conservation are holding a summit meeting, trying to get people excited about how this great region in the watershed of the East Arm. And we're going to have another 40 people who are going to be going on Salt Creek too. So we're very excited about that. I had to stop working on your section of the river late in August because of two things. One, we had a bunch of storms. We had to go back and fix places. And then Porter County finally finished Brummett Road on the east side of Chesterton. And so people are chomping at the bit. Yes.
I drive that way every morning.
Oh, yeah. So people really want to get in the house. So that's where I was today and yesterday, and it's hopefully tomorrow. We expect that to be done. Good. Monday, I'll be back here.
Right.
We expect the section from 149 all the way back to Howell and Porter in the National Park will be done next week. The section from Praxair Dam to Salt Creek, one of our delays was the Army Corps of Engineers And getting two federal agencies to work together is harder than getting one federal agency to do anything. It just took forever. By the time we got the permit, it was almost the end of August. And here's something maybe you didn't know. You cannot put mechanized equipment in your river in September because that's when the salmon and trout are coming upstream. And they are, I can tell you this, they swim around this river there. So we can't work in the river in September. But we already have a signed contract with the guy who's got the amphibious excavator. So it's all scheduled. We should start October 1st. And I'm predicting it'll be 2 weeks then. So then you'll have Salt Creek, from Salt Creek all the way up to the Praxair Dam. You'll have from 149 to Howe, and actually all the way to Brummett and Eastern County. I'm just so excited about it. What you won't have is the section from 149 to the Praxair Dam. The reason is, we won't do that until the portage is in place. We want there to be, we don't want anybody paddling there until both landings are 100% done. Now, if everything, all the agreements get signed and the installations are done, then I'll come back and I'll clear that last quarter of the mile. They will be there, but right now we want that sort of natural barrier. It's funny, I chose the word barrier. One of the installations at Praxair Dam, besides a place to, to beach your boat, a place to walk around it, a place to put it back in. There will be a steel cable across the river, anchored on both sides, with flotation on it, and then signs that says, "Dam ahead, you must exit here." Those are the things that we want in place. I still hope it happens this year. But if it doesn't happen, then I simply won't clear that until next year. So that's the part that won't be done. But we are this close to having the whole river done, and I'm just so excited about it. So thank you for your interest, and thank you for if you have any questions.
Thank you for all the work that you do, all volunteers.
It's been quite a few years of planning and, I think even several superintendents at the
Yes.
National Lakeshore, so you guys have really stuck at it and, done the job.
The acceleration this year is phenomenal. We've been talking about this for a long time, and all of a sudden, we are just marching down the river. We've got the resources, we've got the people trained. It's just so exciting to see. And I mean, it's just a different world down there. You gotta get down and see it. It's unbelievable. It ties in with the things that you're doing at Market Greenway. I think Burns Harbor is gonna be the coolest place in the river.
Awesome.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any other questions, let you know. She knows how to get in touch.
All right, thank you. Market Greenway update. Did you have anything more than what was on your report?
Yeah, there is one action item tonight, just a year ago, the redevelopment commission entered into a contract with Avon Marsh to oversee construction management of phase 1A. That project was delayed in its start, and it's the one we just spoke to that will begin here this October. So just to account for the timeline, we have a amended contract that extends the contract that was set to expire this December 31st, 2023, to just extend that 1 year to December 31st, 2024. Just because, again, the project will be occurring in 24 as well. There is no change in the dollar amount of the contract. That still remains the same. It's just simply updating the contract so that we have it current for our accounting purposes.
All right. Good. Does anybody have any other questions about that contract? We're looking for discussion or a motion to extend that.
I'll make a motion to extend the contract.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Toplin,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarg,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
Yes,
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. Next, new business. Well, old business, that's not on here, something that we need to go back to discussing. Is the BP invoice. So Tina has been in talks with Keith at BP, and again, we're talking about the invoice that went over the contracted amount. So I guess we're kind of at a standstill at this point with BP, so I just wanted to open the table for some discussion on how everybody feels about it, what you guys feel that we should do to move forward. Do we want to pay the portion of the contract that we are, that we're in agreement to pay? Does that make us lose any leverage that we have against them? On the others, I wanna know what everybody feels about that contract and what we should do. How you feeling, Brad?
Quiet
well. I don't really answer your question, but I mean, what does it take for, we in plain language said, contact us if this is gonna exceed this amount. What does it take for BP to honor that? And I mean, did they have us over? Because we're gonna have to live with them for a long time. And they basically have, for some reason, when they get a right of way in for their precious pipeline, they get virtual veto power over acres and acres of land that aren't part of the pipeline, but that are adjacent to it, because they're BP. And so I guess I'm frustrated with the fact that they're not honoring the agreement. They didn't honor the agreement. So we now are on notice. We can't trust them. They are not they're not a corporation of their word. And so if we have any future dealings with them, we get it, not emails, not memos, we get it in a contract written up. I don't know, I'm not.
With stipulations that if there's something not right and you need to succeed, the amount that we agreed on, let's have a conversation of some sort. You just don't go ahead and do the work and expect us to pay it.
Well, but I want it airtight.
Right.
All right,
Right.
so that, about so anyways, that's
Well,
my.
if I can, I mean,
Yes.
just to
You're
point
right
out,
next.
in the agency reimbursement agreement from May of 2022. The preliminary estimated cost of the work is $229,566 as set forth and attached to Exhibit B. Any amount over the estimated cost of $229,566 shall require BP to submit all supporting documents of the then completed work, along with a change order signed by BP and the town of Burns Harbor for the excess amount.
Okay, that's
Exactly.
I don't know, that meets the definition of, your definition of airtight, but that's what our agreement said.
that I would have called that airtight. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But
So
what do we wanna do next? So, in my opinion, what I wanna do next is I want Clay to contact. Keith, can I speak to your manager, please?
Yeah, in my.
I think we
understanding
need
is
to-
King has been speaking with Keith, I don't know who his chain of command
Yes.
is, but.
Yes, we might have to do some. Figuring out to figure out who that next person is that we need to talk to, and also what. Can they really not move forward on anything else and hold this over our head? Like, is that, are they, like, I feel like that's blackmail. I feel like that just can't be legal for them to say, well, if you don't wanna
Forcing
do
us into
this
payment.
thing, then we're not gonna do this.
And I don't know what else we have with them right now with regards to crossings of the pipeline.
Well, until it's paid, they won't sign off on it, and we can't do anything in the Westport sitting there in the middle.
No, I agree,
And
but
we're
I'm
ready
talking
to-
about the, future too,
Right,
when it comes to, issues in town with the pipeline. That cross that way.
and there's nothing that you are seeing that they have to come back and say anything back to, you know what I mean? I feel like we have the upper hand here, that we have a contract, that's signed, that seems pretty airtight to me. I mean, I haven't read every single page and I obviously didn't go to law school, to know if there's anything else anywhere else that contradicts anything, anything there that says, but it seems to me pretty.
I mean, there may be some arguments they have, I don't wanna get into those.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
And if this were to get to either litigation or litigation threat in writing, really by either side, then we can have executive sessions
okay.
about that, but we can't have executive sessions
Can,
about this matter at this point in time.
can we just, pay what we're obligated to under the contract? And then if they want more, let them sue us.
Well, but we pay the amount that was initially agreed to, then A, I feel like we lose some of the leverage that we have right now. And B, they could still say, we're not signing off on what you need us to sign off on for you to move forward on your project. Saying it was, they get the upper hand.
Yeah.
I think at this point, my recommendation would be to have Clay pursue the next person in line and see where we're at with that. And does that need something that, if, everybody's agreement, I don't know if we need a motion, somebody needs to make a motion to move forward with that, but is that something that we need to recommend for the town council to approve, since the town council is named on the contract, or the
This-
town is named on the contract?
This agreement does, in my opinion, seem to be with the town, as it does not, it references the town, not the RDC, and it's signed by the town. It's by Angela Scott as president. It doesn't say town council, it says the town of Burns Harbor, Indiana, Angela Scott, president, so she
Okay.
has been the president. At that point in time, president of the town council. And even in the beginning of the document, it never says town council, but it doesn't say the RDC either. So to answer your a long way of answering, what should have been short answer, I think it's the town council ultimately needs to make a decision. I'm not, with regards to funding, I'm not sure if RDC can independently fund the cost of it, but I think the decision on settlement to pay or not to pay needs to be made by the council.
Okay,
Just to clarify, Attorney Penn, the RDC was going to pay for the BP coding as part of the scope of work of the Westport PUD.
And that's my understanding too, I just want to clarify, I think the council needs to certainly be involved. Since we only have 2 of the 5 of them here now.
So is that something that you all want me to bring to the next meeting? And how do you want me to? What do you want me to recommend to the council? That we just let Clay move forward with it? And we're not paying anything at this point in time would be the RDC's recommendation, but we'll see what the council says.
Right.
I agree.
Is that okay with everybody? Anybody else have anything else on it? Okay. All right. You have any new business? Approval of claims register?
Make a motion.
Third.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Roll call please.
Commissioner Tobin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
Yes,
Commissioner McCart,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. Approval of financial report for the month of August 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second it.
Any discussion? Roll call please.
Commissioner McCart,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
yes.
Commissioner Tobin,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes. Good of the order. Anybody have anything?
Yes, I get.
Hi, you give it last down, Brad.
We got, well, I kind of wish that Jane was here, but this is kind of for both Clay and Jane. Is it possible, is it legal, for the RDC to set up a trust fund for care and maintenance of, like, the Marquette Greenway? In other words, sort of like the Fed set up a trust fund for the interstate system years ago for maintenance, and then they got completely overwhelmed. But is it possible for us to do that? I mean, because one of the things that we've been discussing off and on is that you know, whether it's the park department or whether it's the street department, there's a lot of maintenance that is going to go into, you know, just cutting back brush, mowing, etc. On the Marquette Greenway and other trails as we go into town, and none of that comes free. So, you know, I mean, even if we paint 10th of a mile markers on stencil on the actual pavement, save money, you still gotta send somebody out there to do that, you know. So is it possible for us to set up like a trust fund?
I don't know if it would be called a trust fund, and I want to talk to Jane about
Well,
that. Because when you, you know, it sounds like you want to set up some sort of like escrow account, that I don't know if it grows, or you just paying for those things every year, so.
well, I mean, the idea would be for if future RDCs agree to adding to the trust fund. I mean, right now, they're actually paying interest. The rumor has it that banks are actually paying interest on bank accounts, which they haven't for years. And so it makes it kind of worthwhile thinking about this. You know,
Well, there's the Indiana Bond Bank that I know a lot of municipal entities, agencies use to deposit government funds to make a little bit more money than you might in their normal bank, local bank savings account or CD or something of that nature, but let's get Jane in the conversation and
Yeah,
have that and look into it.
well, okay, I'll email Jane and I'll copy you.
Sure.
And, you know, I just wanna know if it's possible, you know, if there's a way to do this, to set up, you know, I call it a trust fund. That's what, you know, that's really what it's intended to do.
And I guess when I hear the word trust, I'm thinking of, and for the benefit, you put something in trust for the benefit of somebody else or something else, but that's not what this is. This is town money, RDC money for the benefit of what is still,
Future expenses.
well, but it's for town property, but you got current expenses too, because you know, you talk about, you know, you're still gonna, you're not maybe gonna have to paint markers every year, but probably gonna have to trim brushes and maybe every year, if not more than once a year, and you're gonna have to maintain the property and some of the improvements. I know it's just, you know, the paved path, the gravel path, whatever, but there's gonna be some maintenance costs every year.
Right.
Just like they are with any improvements, and the greater the improvement, the more that you spend on the improvement, the greater that yearly maintenance is gonna be.
And that's what this would be intended to help reimburse.
Yeah.
And at some point, I mean, if it's written right, you know, at some point in the future, 10 years, 25 years, you know, it can be undone and the money can, you know, the principal can, go be used for something, you know, if they don't want to continue to do. Some future.
We can look into it, but then obviously, you know, is it something that you're gonna budget for every year just to put in? What's the difference in just budgeting for X amount of dollars every year to maintain the trail or to maintain, you know, what I would think would be park property, if it's gonna be part of the park system. I don't know.
Well, yes, I mean, that would be one way to do it. And I'm not sure that it's my way is any better than.
And although Burns Harbor is a smaller community, I know that other communities in Porter County that have parks, and you know, most cities and towns do, they have, it's called a park foundation. You know, fill in the blank in the municipality park foundation and create essentially a 501c3, so then if members of the community want to make a donation, then they can get a tax benefit for doing that, and those funds are put into, you know, an account, and their perpetuity and the interest from those funds are used for the benefit of the park. You've got like the park over here, and then if there are any other parks in town or park or town property, and I would think that the trail, although not, you know, what you normally might think is a rectangular park in town, it still serves some of the same purposes with regards to outdoor recreational activity as a part of it. So that might be another way to raise money, not just from government funds, but from community funds. To pay for some of those costs.
I'm just trying to think long term, you know, one of the complaints has always been, well, how are we gonna pay to maintain it? You know, well, that's a good question, because the you know, TIF money isn't bottomless. And it's not gonna last forever, and at some point. You know, we're gonna have to think about this stuff. Right now, it's all new,
Sure.
shiny. And, you know, but at some point, we're gonna start spending some money on it. So, okay, I will email Jane. And,
She'll probably be in the building when she's not ready.
She was here.
and, cover you, and, we'll just find out if, you know, if she knows how it can be done.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? No?
Want to make a motion to adjourn?
The second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Topple,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensland,
Yes.
Commissioner McCord,
Yes.
Commissioner Bozak.
Yes.